Hello and welcome to yet another Outside Inside Star Citizen. The show where we talk about what happened in the Inside Star Citizen. We make jokes about the devs because that's the only thing we have left to do because nobody's playing Star Citizen actually. But this time we have a big one and I haven't watched it. I'm gonna watch it with you guys, but I hope that Inside Star Citizen is gonna represent it at its best and that we're gonna learn more about it. So let me roll the intro. Oh no. Before that, after the intro, we're first gonna look at the roadmap and then we're gonna watch Inside Star Citizen. So roll the intro.
Hello, my name is Grumpy.
Alright, so first off, before we begin with the Inside Star Citizen, there was a huge I heard that there was a huge update to the roadmap, and we're gonna check it out right now. So, roadmap updates, roundup, whatever. This is just the greeting, release view. The following card has been added. A card, okay, it's a single card, to the release view, slated for release in Alpha 3.18, so next patch, whenever it drops. So, sure, Grey Cat PTV Racetrack. Nice racetrack in a space game for the buggies that nobody uses. But sure, great, amazing. Now let's watch Inside Star Citizen.
Hey all, Space Dad here, coming to you from a secret facility that we'll be talking more about next quarter. Now Alpha 3.18 has a whole lot of features that players have been anxious for updates on. And while we'll get to all of them like we always do before this quarter is out, we wanted to take this week's show and slow things down a bit for an uninterrupted, unabridged chat about persistent entity streaming.
Jared, I don't know if you noticed, but most of the community has been complaining, me too, me included, that the Inside Star Citizen has been slow, and the development of this game has been slow. So you slowing things down is... you really don't want to say that in the Inside Star Citizen, but yeah, let's take a look.
Please join me in welcoming Benoit Beauséjour, CTO of our partners at Turbulent, for what we're calling our very first PES report. So, Benoit, welcome back to ISC. To start things off, give us a nickel version of what persistent entity streaming is.
Persistent entity streaming is a system that allows us to persist the entire game world and restore it from disk so that it's never lost and changes from players are meaningful.
And what's that look like to the player? How will players know if PES is working or not?
They're gonna know because every time they come back to the same server, the state will be the same. So if you leave a ship, a can, or any kind of items in the world, it'll stay there. You blow up a door, it'll be blown on that server forever.
All right, so here's a few questions. Does this mean that if the server crashes, everything will recover and be in the same spot? The other question is, why is that so important? I mean, I understand for server meshing and for cargo refactor and for salvage wrecks and all of that, that's going to be really important. But I guess we'll see about the prioritization and what's gonna be prioritized the most, and if a Coca-Cola can or a bottle is gonna have more priority than a wreck, or I don't know. But yeah, we've been waiting for this and I can't wait to see this in the PTU, and I have been waiting for at least 3 months now, because they said it's gonna be in the PTU in June and it's September now. So but yeah, it's gonna happen, and then it's gonna be in the PTU for I don't know, 3 months, 3 to 6 months. That's what Chris said. So maybe this time next year we're gonna get 3.19, and then in 2023 maybe we're gonna get server meshing. But it's gonna be a tough and rocky road to server meshing if it ever happens. But I guess it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna be optimistic with this one.
But part of this is something that cleans up the junk afterwards, right?
Yeah, some items will be covered under lifecycle management, which they'll get recycled, right? Because obviously we need some kind of janitorial system behind the scenes. But there also are discussions about gameplay to do that, to help players, to get players to help us clean up the game world. But yes, that's a new avenue that persistent entity streaming opens up.
Okay, so giving people gameplay to be like space janitors. I mean, I guess some people would do that. I just did like a podcast with Space Tomato on his channel or his Twitch channel, and it was like Salty Mike, Space Tomato, Dig That 32, and Jeroen. We were talking about like the pros and cons of Star Citizen and all of that. To like cut the story short, I have realized that like people that are making videos that are considered to be shills, which I never thought that they were actually shills or shilling for CAG or Star Citizen. They are just enthusiastic and they're just optimistic in their real life without the game, and they already have everything they want from the game, because everything they want from the game is not the game itself, the like playable portion. No, they want to have shenanigans, they want to like fuck around and just chill with their friends. Dig That 32 mentioned that he would love to have like I don't know, to be in the kitchen of his 600i or in a jump. I don't know what he said, but like he wants to cut up fruits in Star Citizen, which to me, like, I don't know, it's okay, fine. If that's the game you want to play, fine. And this is gonna help you out, especially if there's people that want to be janitors and like they can't be janitors in real life because they're like making too much money. So therefore, they're gonna waste a lot of. They're gonna waste a lot of money on Star Citizen so they can play it, so they can have like A90 jumps and all of that, and then they're gonna be janitors in this game because there's incentive to do that. So from my point of view, there's no fucking reason to have janitors or anything of that sort in the game. You just despawn things when nobody is around, and that is it. So if you ask me, please, CAG, don't do that. We don't need janitors. We need actual game loops. And that's my 2 cents.
All right, so we brought everyone up to speed on what PES is. Let's get to the updates. Now, last time we heard anything was from Chris's letter from the chairman back in May, where we'd just dropped something on the ground, shut the servers down, brought the servers back up, and it was still there. What's happened in the last 3 months?
Well, so the team, which is a fairly large team at this point, has been working really hard to get our first stage delivery to what we call game dev, which is our main branch. What that means is we've moved from a prototypical work branch into what everybody in the company is using to develop the game. And so that's the big achievement, is now the technology is in the game dev branch. So everybody is using it in day-to-day, day in, day out testing. So all the bugs appear, they're right in our faces. We fix them right away. It's been a bit of a crazy time, but that's a big achievement in the last three months, is that we've stabilized the technology enough so that the entire company can now be working on it.
All right, so basically what he said is that for the past 3 months, they haven't released this patch because, they've been like bug fixing. So it should be good upon first release to the PTU or to the Evocati. But of course, that's never going to happen, and I don't know. I really don't know. My thoughts are that they should have released it as soon as it was in a barely playable state, so we can actually test it out. Because like you're gonna have more people than just your Q&A guys or whatever they're called, quality control guys. The other talking point with this little clip is that like he said that the whole company is gonna work on that, like all 800 people or just the Star Citizen developers, which is always the skeleton crew. Why would the Squadron 42 guys work on PES when it just doesn't matter for Squadron 42? Like, it has nothing to do with Squadron 42. So I don't know. Maybe he's gonna answer that question, but I guess I'm pretty sure he's not gonna answer it, right?
Define crazy.
Define crazy, everything being on fire, like this technology touches on every subsystem in the game. So transit was busted, stuff was persisting in the wrong locations. You couldn't log into the game because obviously with PES comes a new login flow to get players into the game, because we need to bring your items into a new database. So that entire system was also rocky to get in, because there's a lot of cases to deal with, like timeouts if you have too many items, what happens if you have too many items, and dealing with all the different stages of the login, from authentication to you being actually spawning in the game. And so it's been a lot of debugging, encountering issues on different types of machines, because when we start, all the developers have some pretty good machines on those feature branches, but when we move to game dev, now we're exposed to all kinds of different hardware, and timing issues occur. Those are the weird ones to find. They're really difficult to trace, in fact. But so that's been the craziness, is getting exposed to way more machine types or users as well, right? Like the game requires a lot of resources to run when we develop locally, and so sometimes one service doesn't start on somebody's machine, and that causes all these crashes to start being reported, and now we have to investigate them. And so that's been a bit of it's the real-time effect that makes it crazy. It's like, we're not making technology in a bubble anymore where everybody's using it. And so that makes it really, really difficult to follow. But it's been fun finally get the technology in the hands of people that can really adjust it for the game and for the players. And so that's been fantastic.
So what he said here is that they still didn't fix the issue with your ship, your 300-ton ship being blown away by the wind, because the physics in this game are busted. There's one question, or there's a few questions that I can think of right now, and I'm not a game dev, and this, for me, for a player, it is just boring. It's cool to see, but to react, it's not so much. But here's the question. Here's the first question. There's gonna be a lot of shit around the verse now, and some people already have long loading times, and I guess this is gonna make them longer. And I'm pretty sure that some PCs will not be able to handle all the entities that have to be loaded in, because there's gonna be, as I've said, there's gonna be a lot of junk around the verse. Now, a little bit of a different topic. If we don't have junk around the verse, but we have junk in the same spot, what happens then? And how does that work? Because if you didn't watch my channel since the start, there's a few bugs that I reported, and that actually got fixed, one of which is single-handedly crashing servers due to bad physics and collisions and the tick rate, etc. I spawned 200, 300 backpacks in an elevator, and it crashed the server, or it just slowed it down so much that it was unplayable. I was Crusader, and people on Arkel 1 were having 5 frames per second, and then the server crashed. So they added the area too cluttered thing prompt that you get after you spawn or drop a few items. Now, how is that going to work with PES? Are you going to take it out, or is it still going to be in the game so you can't drop a lot of junk right next to each other? So they don't collide, because the collisions were the things that were breaking the servers, because there was a lot of calculations for the servers to work on, because physics with bad tick rate, and then something sinks inside of something and it needs to pop out, but how much? But then the second tick, it doesn't matter. So how is that going to work with the current state of the game and the current physics of the game, the current tick rate, and yeah, like I guess we'll see. Like they can talk all the talk that they want to, but until we see that in the PTU, we can't really say if it's good or not.
So that's been the last couple months, but where are we at right now?
So right now on the technology side, we're in bug fixing mode, right? And identifying the elements that are left that we are still, rough around the edges. So I don't want to call it polish. It's really bug fixing, bug testing, stabilization. Stabilization is the right word. That's what we're doing right now. So it's feature parity and making sure everything works the way it should. On the other side, there's a new team that's kicking in work, which is deployment teams, right? So this is taking the technology that we have working on a game dev build and locally, and basically breaking it up into a lot of small services that run in the cloud. So the operationalization of the technology, that's what we're really focusing on now. It's like a dependent project, right? So this allows us to basically bring the game to you guys. That's where we can do PTU. So PTU is for a lot larger than a developer running the game on his machine. Even though there's tons of services when we go to the cloud, we've got operators that deploy that on multiple machines and scale this out. This is made to scale. So now it's about testing that that's true. So we've got the technology is working. Now we're trying to scale it out to the cloud, see, how many users we're kicking in there, the weight of the entities, how many entities we end up having in the databases, can they reload fast enough, testing all of the facets of the assumptions that we had. But really getting this technology ready to be deployed for players to play on.
All right, so I don't have anything bad to say about this. This is like all rational and this is all cool. The only thing is that like it was supposed to be out in June, and then it was supposed to be in the PTU for 3 to 6 months, and it's overdue for 3 months, and then it's gonna run for 3 to 6 months in the PTU, and like. Maybe we're gonna have it in the PU by the end of the year, but we don't know. But on top of that, they were talking about incentivizing people to play on the PTU by giving them, I don't know, subscriber items or whatever, flares, or it doesn't matter. But like having incentive to play and report in the PTU, and without that, because they're not talking about that right now, how are you like... 317.2 PTUs had like 5 to 15, maybe 30 players on the servers. 318 is gonna be very much the same thing after people like realize that we're just gonna wait for the PU. We saw our Vulture or Corsair or whatever you're gonna release in the PTU, but like. There needs to be an incentive, because without incentive, there's not going to be players that are going to play and test it out. There's not going to be people, or like many people, much people, that are going to actually go to the issue council and report those issues. And in the end, because of all of that, most of the bugs are going to be like, or go under the radar, because they're not going to happen. They're not going to occur because nobody played. Well, nobody. Grumpy, you're speaking in absolutes. Most people are not going to play the PTU because there is no incentive. So please give us an incentive to play the PTU so we can have more people to test out this thing, because this thing has the potential to be the buggiest mess ever, like by far in the past 2 years that I have been playing. And each patch that we got in the past 2 years was like even buggier than the last one. And this one has the potential to be the worst one. So please make an incentive for the players to actually play the PTU and to report stuff that in the end is gonna get fixed.
Has the recent change in server player counts had any effect on PES testing or its development?
Well, at first we thought it was going to have an effect, but the reality is the same amount of entities get stored, whether 100 players are simulated or 50. So no, for the moment there is no side effect to having more player caps, because obviously there's more entities being changed, but ultimately for the same amount of players online, whether they're divided on 50, 100 players per server doesn't change anything for PS.
All right, so here's another question. And I guess it's gonna be unanswered. are the entities all like the same level, or are like, for example, if a guy spawns a bunch of cans or like drops a bunch of bottles that are empty, like 100 bottles, 1,000 bottles, people just keep on dropping bottles, is like, does that mean that the other bottles that got dropped before that are going to despawn? Or does that mean that a carcass wreck, whatever you want to call it, of like Akari Black is gonna despawn because you dropped another bottle? Like, is it the same pool or is it not? It's like, is there like any systemic approach to all of this, so we don't like, so I don't use a voucher trying to like salvage Akari and then it just despawns because somebody dropped a Piku somewhere in the verse? So that's one more question that is really important, and I'm not like, we'll see if they're going to answer it, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to answer it.
We have a bunch of new tools that we're also working in the last stretch here to allow game support to help players that have issues. Character repair is something that we're starting to work on. Mind the word here is not character reset, but character repair, which is something that we can now do that we could not do before. So that will allow us to not just destroy people's inventories and items, but really go and fix one issue on so that they can keep playing. So we're trying to get that in before we launch it, because we think that would be very beneficial for if there are corruption events again. We're trying to, the technology is made to not have those, but like, better safe than sorry. Right? So that's really the work now, is login flow and PES is just stabilization and deployment so that we can launch it. So it's beeline for 3.18 is all. It's like we're banging on it until it gets in properly.
All right, so if you watched the original video, you will notice that I skipped through it a bit because, there was a lot of talk about basically nothing that is important. But this thing that I just showed you is pretty important. And it is pretty important because, character resets are the banes, or the banes, is there like a plural to a bane of our existences? Whatever, you know what I mean. And it's cool to see that they're working on something else. But here's the thing, is it going to be automated? If so, you will need to know yourself what you want to repair, because with a character reset, it would just reset everything. And if it's automated, it's up to the player to like repair all the things that he thinks that need to be repaired. So if you lose a head, you're going to repair your character, I guess. If you lose an engine on your ships, I guess you're going to repair your ship, like your fleet, or I don't know how it's going to work. But if it's not optimized or automated, this is going to be a bigger issue, because it will need to be approved, and like you will need to message a guy that's going to sit there like by his desk and like answer to all those questions and answer to all those emails about like a bunch of people having issues. And some of them are not going to be actual issues. Some of them are just going to be trolls. Some of them are going to be whatever. It doesn't matter. But in the end, it's going to be a lot of work for one guy or a bunch of guys that are going to work on that. So I guess it's going to be automated, but hopefully it's going to be good. Hopefully it's going to work as intended, and I guess we'll see. Like, as I said, like this whole episode is just like a lot of talk with like no, they didn't show us anything. They showed us like a bunch of bottles on a table, and that's it. And so what's the point? Yeah, we can already drop a bunch of bottles on the table. Well, like there's a limit because of me, because I managed to break the servers, but there's gonna be more bottles, I guess, and that's it. Like, what's the point of the whole episode? It's understandable. They can't really show this to us. They can't really like, hey, here's it's not the same as a ship. Like, the ship looks nice, it has its functionality. This is just like the back end, and it's gonna change our lives for the better, I guess. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna be for the worse for at least another patch cycle. But we'll see.
Now, I know we don't like to do dates, but we got a whole lot of player testers waiting to help bang on the pipes. You wanna forecast anything?
Oh, no, I'm not even going to try to gamble on that one. I mean, we have it running in the cloud. It's running, right? But, before we're comfortable not sending the ETF team into a, just fire drill. That's going to be, there's a big difference between testers, internal testers, developers using the system, and when we get real users on it, it's completely different, right? And so it's hard to say for me. Like, I don't want to forecast it.
And that is exactly why you need to incentivize people to play in the PTU, because like without that, you're not going to have enough data to know what's happening and what's actually going to happen in a PU environment. And we're going to get 317.2 again, or like the 318 is going to go back into the PTU again. So please, CAG, consider this. You have some time. I don't know when you're going to release 318 into the PTU, but you have some time, and please don't waste it on doing nothing. Please, like, do something and give us an incentive to play the PTU so more people would play it and you will have more data. It's simple as that. So you've been thinking about that. Don't have your bureaucracy thing and delay it forever, basically. Just do it now. Just think of something and do it now, and then you're probably gonna wipe us and we're gonna lose everything that we got from the incentive. But yeah, at least fucking do it. Just make people wanna play the PTU.
Now, before we let you go, I want to reiterate that PES isn't a traditional feature like players are used to. When it works, Star Citizen isn't going to look any different. It'll just be another step closer to functioning like we've always intended to. It's a major step forward in stability when all is said and done.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're not going to have wipes anymore, because there's always data changes that will require us to do that, but we're really hoping that the technology will allow us to have consistent data, which we don't always have right now. Every player's had horror stories of how losing their Moby glass or their eyes, which is incidentally one thing I discovered in this project is that if you don't have eyes, you don't see markers in your visor. That's an interesting one.
I gotta say, I never had an issue with not having eyes. I always had eyes, but I had an issue a bunch of times now that I lost my Moby glass or I lost my head. And without a head or a Moby glass, the game just doesn't work. So, I don't know. That's one thing that I guess never got fixed, and maybe it's gonna be fixed now, but probably not. We will see, because I think that with adding PES on top of a buggy mess that we already have, it's just gonna sustain the buggy mess that we already had, and it's not gonna fix things. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a game dev, but hopefully we're gonna get a game at some point that's gonna be in a better state than it is right now.
So trying to make sure that the data's, the technology will make sure that the data is safe and sound. So obviously less corruption. So that's the first thing we expect. Second one, stuff will persist. And to be honest, at this time, we don't totally know what that's going to mean when we put real players in it, right? So right. We do have life cycle systems and cleanups and all that stuff. Yes, we've planned for that, but we don't yet know what you guys will do with it. And that will greatly affect how the technology functions, right, in the end.
See, I have a few things that I know that are going to happen. First off, all those PQs that you saw there, they're going to be in an elevator or in a cramped up space, and they're going to bring the servers down because, there's gonna be too many collisions at the same time. Second thing that's gonna happen, people are gonna just drop they're gonna suicide in front of hangars. Griefers are gonna suicide in front of entrances to the hangars, so they can block the entrance to the hangar, and or things like that, so they can grief, and so nobody can get access to a hangar or whatever. So if you didn't think of that, and if you don't know how to fix that, we're going to have a serious issue in the long run until you figure out how to fix it. Because, this could make the game unplayable, and not because of the main reason, or PES not working, not because of the bugs, but because of players. Because players are going to try and troll each other, they're going to try and grief each other, and I haven't seen in this whole video, and we're closing in on the ending of the video, I haven't seen a single thing that they were talking about that would prevent stuff like that. So Hopefully they thought of it, but knowing CAG, they haven't, and we're gonna have a serious issue.
Yes, we get persistent state. That's awesome. That's great. But the real thing is that we separate simulation from replication, and that allows us to do server meshing after that. And that's the reason why we're doing this.
So guys, you heard it here. Half-Life 3 confirmed. Server meshing is coming. When, we don't know. And yeah, this is what, yeah, I mean, to be frank, this is a big stepping stone towards what they wanted to make with this game and towards server meshing. But how that's going to work out, we really don't know. And when it's going to happen, we really don't know. They don't know, so they can't even fucking tell us. Maybe they have an idea, but they don't want to do it because, yeah, like you can't even ask them when, because you're going to get banned from Spectrum and all of that, or your message is going to get deleted, whatever. So with that said, I hope you like enjoy this video. I don't know, like I try to be constructive with this one. There's not really that much things to like make fun of, and yeah, like I don't know. It was a boring one from a player's perspective, but also this means a lot for the future of the game, and we'll see how it's gonna work out. I'm gonna like have my money on that like it's not gonna work out for the first like 3 months. Maybe 4th month is gonna like start to look like it's playable again in the PTU, and then maybe in like 5 months, maybe they're gonna release it, and maybe it's gonna be okay-ish, but it's still gonna be the same game. And yeah, as I've said, I can't wait to see it in the PTU, and I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to like hull strip with the shitty lasers on my voucher, and yeah, just find some wrecks that I'm gonna like hull strip and salvage. So with that said, thank you for watching, and thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, there's gonna be a link down in the description of the video. If you're wondering why are you supporting me, you noticed that like one of my lights has died, and like this camera, which is an amazing camera, is too dark, and I have like exposed it a lot so it could like compensate, but it's not working. I need a new light. So you're supporting me for buying equipment for this studio, gear for gear reviews, or giveaways for ships in Star Citizen, and there's gonna be a giveaway with 5,000 subscribers. And yeah, that's why that's why you're supporting this channel. And if you want to support it, there's gonna be a link down in the description of the video. It's a Patreon link. You can click on it, and thank you. And again, thank you for watching, and that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, and bye.